In the previous presentation, we discussed Middle East, meaning of Arab Spring, and common factors leading to uprisings in North Africa and Middle East. In this presentation, I'll talk about major uprisings in Tunisia, Egypt, Bahrain, Yemen, and Syria. Let's start with Tunisian Revolution, which is also known as Jasmine Revolution. Unrest in Tunisia began after Bouazizi, an unemployed youth, protested against government corruption by setting fire to himself on December 17, 2010. His condition came to symbolize injustice and economic hardship. It inspired street protests throughout the country against high unemployment, poverty, and political repression. Dozens of protesters were killed in clashes with police. However, the clashes continued and spread to the capital. On January 13, 2011, President Ben Ali appeared on national television and promised not to seek another term as president when his term ends in 2014. The protesters continued to clash with security forces. On January 14, 2011, a state of emergency was declared, and Tunisian state media reported that the government has been dissolved and elections would be held in the next 6 months. That announcement also failed to end unrest, and Ben Ali stepped down as president, leaving the country. Prime Minister Mohamed Ghannouchi then briefly took over as acting president. On 15th January, Ghannouchi handed over the presidency to Parliamentary Speaker Fouad Mebaza, and he himself resumed his previous position as Prime Minister. On 17 January, Ghannouchi announced the formation of a new unity government. The next day, however, a number of the cabinet's new ministers from opposition party resigned in response to fresh street protests. Demonstrators held rallies to protest the government's close links to the Ben Ali's political party RCD. On February 6, RCD was officially suspended, and on 27 February, Ghannouchi stepped down as Prime Minister. Tunisians voted on October 23, 2011 for a constituent assembly. This newly elected Constituent Assembly had the power to draft a new constitution. The election of October 2011 was described by observers as free and fair. After the removal of Ben Ali, the polarization between secular and religious factions became a dominant feature of Tunisian political life. The emergence of a hardline Salafist movement placed pressure to guarantee a significant role for Islamic law in the new constitution. To conclude, we can say Tunisia has continuously progressed since the 2011 revolution. It is a democracy in an unstable region. However, economic crisis, political discontentment, and the deep rooted difficulties of a major political and social transition continue to threaten the country's stability. Now, let's discuss Egypt. Inspired by the events in Tunisia, Egyptians gathered to protest on January 25, 2011. They protested to put an end to corruption, injustice, poor economic conditions, and the 30-year-old regime of President Hosni Mubarak. Street demonstrations quickly grew into a national revolutionary movement that in 18 days removed Mubarak and his National Democratic Party from power. In the beginning, police and supporters of the ruling National Democratic Party tried to suppress the uprising. On January 27, the government shut down the internet and mobile service. Still, the uprising continued. However, the army made the decision that they would not act against the protesters. The army was highly connected and involved in the politics of the state. Hosni Mubarak came from the military. While in office, he kept military elite economically and politically well off. However, when Mubarak was being threatened by the protests, the military sided with civil society. But they also ensured that their economic interests were secured. On February 11, 2011, a day of massive Friday of Departure demonstrations, Mubarak was finally forced to resign. It means that the pro democracy demonstrators called their demonstration of 11 February as the Friday of Departure, meaning Mubarak's departure. The Supreme Council of Armed Forces took control over Egypt. Egypt has been in a state of unease since Egypt's former president Hosni Mubarak was toppled during the Arab Spring uprising in 2011. Militant Islamic groups, including the Islamic State and Al Qaeda, operate in the Sinai Peninsula, and also revolutionary groups such as the Popular Resistance Movement and Harkat Swed Masar. The Popular Resistance Movement is a youth movement that supports armed resistance against the Egyptian government and security forces. It opposes the Egyptian government's counter terrorism operations, which they view as police brutality and harassment. Now let's talk about Bahrain. Bahrain is ruled by King Al Khalifa since 1999. Bahrain is an absolute monarchy. In February and March 2011, Bahrain experienced peaceful protests followed by brutal government repression. Over 40 Shia mosques and other religious structures were damaged or demolished. Initially, the protesters called for political reform and equality for the majority Shia population of Bahrain. After a pre dawn raid by police on 17 February 2011, in which a number of protesters died and hundreds were injured, many started demanding the downfall of the ruling family. On March 14, 2011, Gulf Cooperation Council troops were invited into Bahrain by the government. The King of Bahrain declared a 3-month state of emergency and asked the military to reassert its control over the country. The uprising in Bahrain that began on February 14, 2011 has been contained but not resolved. USA supported the revolutions in Libya, Egypt and Tunisia but not in Bahrain. Bahrain, a tiny island nation located in the Persian Gulf, has provided a base for US naval activity since 1947. Bahrain and United States signed a defense cooperation agreement in October 1991 granting US forces access to Bahrain facilities, that is Bahrain's resources, equipments or locations. Now let's talk about Yemen. Protests occurred in many towns in both north and south of Yemen starting in mid January 2011. Demonstrators in South mainly protested against President's support of Al Qaeda in South Yemen and the exploitation of southern natural resources. Protests in Yemen were against modification of constitution, unemployment, economic conditions and corruption. In an assassination attempt on June 3, President and several other high-ranking Yemeni officials were injured. President Abdullah Saleh moved to Saudi Arabia for treatment. He handed over power to Vice President Mr. Hedi, who largely continued his policies. On September 23rd, Abdullah Saleh returned to Yemen. However, he was pressurized to sign the power transfer agreement which was negotiated by the Gulf Cooperation Council. Abdullah Saleh agreed to step down. He transferred power to his vice president. This agreement made him the fourth leader to be forced from power in 10 months of mass protests that have swept the Arab world. A presidential election was then held on 21st February 2012, in which Mr. Hedi won the election. The replacement government was overthrown by Houthi rebels on January 22, 2015, starting the Yemeni civil war and the Saudi Arabian led intervention in Yemen. Saudi Arabia and 8 other mostly Sunni Arab nations believed that Houthis were supported by Shia power Iran. Hence, They began an air campaign aimed at defeating the Houthis, thereby ending Iranian influence in Yemen and restoring Mr. Hadi's government. This coalition, led by Saudi Arabia, received support from US, UK, and France. The conflict is also seen as a part of regional power struggle between Shia ruled Iran and Sunni ruled Saudi Arabia. Yemen is also strategically important because it sits on a strait linking Red Sea with the Gulf of Aden, through which much of the world's oil shipments pass. Now let's discuss Syrian civil war or Syrian uprising. It is an ongoing armed conflict in Syria. The Baath government is fighting against people who want to remove it. The conflict began on March 15, 2011 with demonstrations. Protesters in Syria demanded that President al-Assad resign. Many of Assad's supporters are Shia, while the majority of the opposition is Sunni. After months of military battles, the protests turned into an armed rebellion. The Syrian government received military support from Russia and Iran, while Qatar and Saudi Arabia gave weapons to the rebels. By July 2013, the Syrian government controlled approximately 30 to 40% of the country's territory and 60% of the Syrian population. Later, in 2014, the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant became the most powerful opposing army, controlling more territory than the Syrian government itself. In August 2013, it was reported that chemical weapons were used in the war in Syria, which caused anger around the world. It led to airstrikes by UK, USA, and France on the said chemical weapons factories. The conflict in Syria has caused one of the largest refugee movements in recent history. It doesn't look like the fighting is likely to end anytime soon, as there is still a big power struggle going on in the region. There is a deadlock between the two sides. This means that the government forces and the rebel groups are unable to defeat each other or agree on the future. And now, Turkey has begun military action in the north of the country, causing more people to flee their homes. The early hopes that these popular movements would end corruption, increase political participation, and bring about greater economic equality quickly collapsed. In consequence to the Arab Spring in various countries, there was a wave of violence and conflicts commonly known as the Arab Winter. The Arab Winter was characterized by extensive civil wars, regional instability, economic and population decline of the Arab League, and overall religious wars between Sunni and Shia Muslims. Recent uprisings in Sudan, Algeria, Iraq, Lebanon, and Egypt show that the conditions that started the Arab Spring are not going away. Political movements against authoritarianism and exploitation are still occurring. However, Arab Spring has led to three notable achievements that seem likely to be lasting, and those are: first, the dynastic rulers have been rejected. Second, people desire an elected and accountable government and are rejecting lifelong rulers. Third, attempts are being made to accommodate existing diversities.